there, everybody. My name is Miss Smith, and I teach 3rd grade here at Junction. And today I'm going to be reading from Pumpkin's story, Chapter 8, The Next Step. Enjoy following along. Life was good. Pumpkin could play all day. The nice lady and the little boy would put her braces on each morning. The braces felt a little uncomfortable at first, but then they felt great. Every time she saw those orange and white braces, her eyes lit up. She knew she would soon be free to explore and run around outside. But first she had to eat breakfast, which was hay now that she was old enough to eat solid food. It was even better than milk. Then the lady would open the door to the pen and lead Pumpkin and her mom out to the pasture. That meant it was time to play. Pumpkin finally got to meet some of the other animals. She met Everest, a beautiful white horse, and Lucy, a miniature pony, with a dark brown coat. And there were so many more. There was never enough time to see everyone and do everything she wanted to do. The sanctuary was so big. Her mom always stayed close so she wouldn't get lost. The little boy liked to hang out with her too. They ran around together a lot. Sometimes the little boy would hold out his hand and Pumpkin could eat something from it. Those were called snacks. The boy laughed and laughed when she licked his hands. He was so cute. Each night her braces had to come off. The nice lady and little boy would guide her and her mom back to their pen, then remove her braces. Then she had to rest. After a long day of exploring, she needed a break, even though she didn't want to admit it. Pausing for printing. She's fast, Deacon said. She's so fast, Ashley agreed. It was still too early to say, but it seemed that Pumpkin was getting stronger each day. Ashley was in awe that this little foal, who could barely walk just weeks ago, was now running at full speed. Pumpkin was such a curious creature, so it was satisfying to finally watch her explore her surroundings at the sanctuary. And Deacon had wanted nothing more than to run with Pumpkin since the day he'd met her. The fact that the two could finally play together made Ashley's heart burst with happiness. She's still the same Pumpkin, but she's happier now, Ashley said. You can tell. Thea looked happier too. Now she could teach Pumpkin how to graze and how to gallop in the field. Ashley could have watched Pumpkin trot around all day, but she knew she had more work to do. She thought about all the messages waiting in her inbox. Pumpkin's video had recently been posted online by the dodo. Matt had sent it to her a day before it went online to see what she thought. It had taken the team at the dodo about a month to edit together all the footage, but they were really proud of the final product. They knew it was going to be special. When Ashley watched it for the first time, she sobbed. It was as if months of built-up tears poured from her eyes. Of course she was happy when Pumpkin walked for the first time. When she was in the moment, it had felt so surreal. She had tried not to get emotional in front of Deacon because he didn't really understand yet what happy tears meant. But watching Pumpkin's story progress through the short video was a different experience. She felt all the hard work she and Derek and the vets had done, and then the thrill of watching it pay off when Pumpkin started running for the first time. She felt a flood of emotions and immediately replied to Matt. I love it, she told him. I'm crying. She was so thankful for the work Matt and his team had done. Telling Pumpkin's story was important, and Ashley was thrilled that people around the world would get to see it. She watched the video again, and it made her cry again. It was a happy cry. Others felt the same way. Thousands of people watched the dodo's mini dwarf pony, who could barely walk, finally gets to run video and fell in love with Pumpkin. In just one day, several million people had viewed it, and the number kept rising. Matt knew as soon as the video went live that it was going to be one of the bigger hits. He scrolled through hundreds of comments from people who were cheering Pumpkin on. "What a joy to see Pumpkin running! This is my favorite video on YouTube. When she took off running after the second fitting, I screamed and jumped for joy. So happy she got the help she needed in a wonderful home. I was smiling and crying at the same time. This is amazing." Ashley was so grateful for the positive responses. She couldn't believe that Pumpkin had fans now, and many of them wanted to know how they could help. That was great news. But they also wanted to meet Pumpkin. Right now, the sanctuary wasn't open to the public. Maybe one day. At this moment, she needed to focus on her little pony's health. There was an upcoming vet appointment to get Pumpkin's hooves trimmed, and then another check-in with Derek to make sure her braces were still fitting okay. Pumpkin's fans would have to wait. And then there was Ashley's most recent rescue, Zebra, the sweetest little lamb born with front legs that were bending like pumpkins. He was just 2 days old, and she needed to get his legs in splints quickly. Her work was never done. The sun had set. Deacon was in bed, but Ashley wasn't done checking on her second family, the furry ones. She slipped on her hot pink boots, then headed outside to begin nighttime feedings. May meant spring was finally here and the weather was warming up. Earlier in the day, she had driven to the second property they were renting, where many of her rescued horses were kept. They had only 5 stalls at Twist of Fate, which they'd quickly outgrown. She couldn't take in any more farm animals right now. Renting a second property cost money, and it took time for her and Deacon to drive there and back every day. She wished she had more space right here, or that she could find a new property big enough to fulfill all her dreams. The perfect property would have plenty of room for more horses and farm animals, plus an arena to train or evaluate new horses. She stood by the fence and watched the horses run in the moonlit field. Willow was jumping and frolicking. She was a sweet horse who greeted Pumpkin and Thea on their daily walks. She always knew how to get everyone excited. Soon the other horses joined in. Alistair, a new rescue, began to play for the first time. He and Colton swung their heads, reared up, and trotted around. Tears started streaming down Ashley's face. She was happy that the horses were happy. She couldn't stop crying. Anytime she saw a new rescue horse do so well at the sanctuary, she thought of Tonka. His glossy dark brown coat, jet black mane, and the bright white spot between his eyes. He was the first horse she had ever saved. If Ashley hadn't stepped in, the horse might have been killed. He was old and couldn't work anymore, so in the eyes of the others he didn't serve a purpose. Ashley knew that wasn't fair. She brought Tonka to Twist of Fate so he could retire and enjoy life. He deserved it. Ashley could tell that he was incredibly grateful for her kindness. In turn, he loved Ashley dearly. He was protective of her in a way she had never seen a horse behave. The day Tonka passed away was one of the hardest days of Ashley's life. She had never asked for or wanted anything in return, but what he gave her was something that could never be replaced. She had seen the true beauty that lies in the heart of an animal. It was powerful and healing. After Tonka's rescue, Ashley knew that her purpose in life wasn't about herself. It was about helping others. She knew she had to give a voice to the animals who didn't have one. Thanks to Twist of Fate, a donkey family was now running together side by side in the field, never to be separated again. A retired plow horse galloped across the field, loud as thunder, and a diseased horse who would have been put down was playing with new friends. Pumpkin's story had brought some attention to her sanctuary. In the morning, she'd ask her supporters to consider donating money to help her reach her dream of finding a new property. She wanted all her furry family and human family to live together on one big property. It was a big goal, but her mind was set. Twist of Fate was moving. She just didn't know where. Ashley felt as though she had knots in her stomach. The veterinarian examined Pumpkin's legs. Pumpkin was now 8 months old and had been wearing braces for 4 months. The braces were supposed to strengthen Pumpkin's legs and tighten her ligaments, the tissues that connected bones, so that one day she could walk on her own. But that wasn't happening. Derek had worked so hard. He couldn't have done any better on the braces, but for some reason the horse's legs weren't strengthening as much as they should have. The veterinarian said it was really bad. At this point, there was no way she could walk without help. It was a birth defect that no one could change. She must have been born without the ligaments that would allow her to one day walk normally, the veterinarian finally told Ashley. Ashley nodded. The braces were always supposed to be a temporary fix. Ashley knew that one day they would come off, but she was hoping they would be removed because Pumpkin could walk without them. If they took away her braces now, it would be a huge step backwards. She was nowhere close to where she needed to be. There is another option, the vet said. Ashley perked up. Surgery. The veterinarian was an expert on large animal surgery. A surgery could help straighten Pumpkin's legs so that she could walk without braces, the veterinarian explained. They could add steel plates to the bottom of Pumpkin's legs exactly where they were bending sideways. This would help keep her legs as straight as they should be. Not all animals are good candidates for surgery, but Pumpkin was. That was pretty lucky. We can try it on one leg, and if it goes well, we can move on to the other 3 legs. Ashley was torn. On one hand, she wanted Pumpkin to be able to walk and run without braces. On the other hand, she didn't want to put her through extensive surgeries. With surgery came pain and physical therapy and a long recovery time. She wouldn't be able to explain to Pumpkin that the pain would go away and that the surgery would eventually help. It wasn't a decision to make lightly. And then there was the cost. Between the surgery itself and the bills that came with a long stay at the animal hospital, the veterinarian estimated it would cost $13,000. $13,000. As the owner of a nonprofit animal sanctuary, Ashley was used to asking people for money. But this was a lot of money to ask for, and she needed the money soon. Unfortunately, she had already asked for donations just 6 days ago when she posted about her quest for a new property. And now she was going to ask her supporters again? It seemed like too much. This journey has been a very long one, but to know that we have made a difference for her is 100% worth it, Ashley said. She knew she had only one option: start raising money for Pumpkin's surgery. Pumpkin's quality of life always has and always will come first, and I truly feel this surgery is her best option right now, Ashley wrote. It seems costly, and there is no guarantee that this will work. However, if this surgery is successful, it could literally save Pumpkin's life. Ashley hoped her supporters would understand how serious this fundraiser was for the little foal. She needed at least half the money as quickly as possible as a deposit to the animal hospital so the veterinarians could begin the first surgery. That was $7,500 that she hoped to raise overnight. Thinking about it made her head spin. But others around the world had fallen in love with Pumpkin as quickly as she and Deacon had. Millions had watched the Dodo's video of Pumpkin, and they were so impressed by her determination. Hopefully they'd be willing to donate money so the foal could live a good life. Every dollar would help. She is incredibly spirited and spunky, and she deserves this chance, Ashley added. Can we rally together for Pumpkin? She clicked share, and then she waited. Wow, that concludes Chapter 8. Stay tuned for a reading tomorrow of Chapter 9.